Hi, I'm Shay Stone,
And I'm Danica Rames.
and we are here today to celebrate Danica's new release, Glass Hearts, available Thursday, April 16th.
Yep, I'm so excited. I am so excited. This book took so long to do because the characters wound up being more complex than they told me they originally were going to be.
They are wonderful characters. For anyone that has bought the paperback already, I'm sure you know. If not, you guys want to buy this book. It is amazing. Danica does a terrific job making her characters seem realistic, and she takes you on an emotional roller coaster throughout the whole entire book where, you're sometimes you want to cry, sometimes you want to laugh, sometimes you want to smack some people, and
Yeah.
it's great. Occasionally you want to throw the book across the room, which is the mark of any great novel. So
Yes.
so that's a good thing. So Danica, can you tell us a little bit about the book, and can you tell us what your inspiration was for the book?
Okay, so Glass Hearts is it's actually the beginning of a second story arc in my Awaken My Heart series. You do not have to read the first story arc to enjoy this one. It is a standalone. There will be another book, but this is a standalone. Um, and it's about an artist who has a lot of anxiety for a lot of reasons. I won't go into all of them, except that she was supposed to be married to a guy who turned out to be not such a great guy. And when he died, she was caught up in trying to be bigger and better than what she felt she was. She wanted to live life more boldly, more colorfully, kind of like the paints in her glass art. So she opens up a gallery, and she's done with men until at least
Famous last words.
what?
Famous last words. She's done
Yes,
with
famous
men.
last words until a dashing, hunky, exciting world traveler who's the CEO of his own kind of company. He comes walking through her gallery doors, interested in her stuff, but he's from England, and and
And
he
has that
doesn't.
hot little British accent.
He has that British accent. Oh, I love it. That's
Oh.
Dance Manager. And he's actually from a aristocratic family in England, so he's wealthy. But they don't like him so much, and he doesn't like them so much, and that
Yeah.
kind of plays into it too. So that's the book, and it just continues the Zabriskie family. Again, you don't have to read the first part, but the first is Jigsaw Hearts, talks about her big brother and his his who turns into his love interest. So
Yeah,
that's
and they do appear in Glass Hearts too. You don't have to have
they
read the
do.
book, but the if you love the characters from the Jigsaw Heart series, Galen, Ren, they're all in there. The whole
Yeah.
Catherine,
So,
the Brazy family, who I absolutely adore and want to be a part of, is in that book. Again, you don't have to have read the first ones, as Danica
right.
said, but
You get Easter eggs throughout, like
yeah,
little things of the family, because I set out to write this series because I can't stand when I fall in love with characters and then they're gone.
yeah.
And I just wanted to be able to give readers and myself a longer time with them. So this family's full of sexy drama. They got their issues, but they're full of a lot of love, and I would love to be a part of this family,
Yeah, and
drama and all.
they're very tight knit too. And
Yes.
it should be said, again, you do not have to have read the first books to follow this one, but there aren't any spoilers either. So if you
No.
start with this one, you can go back to the other one without
Right.
like getting any knowledge that
Yes.
it
It's
won't
a
spoil the other ones.
it's a new idea I'm trying to do. It's, story arcs in a series that, tie together, but you can read each story arc separately.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Now, Seth, who is Corinne's previous fiance and was a very bad dude, um, how do you think the Zambrazi family felt about him? And do you think they had any inkling that he was a bad guy, or did Seth pull it off with his, suaveness? And fool them, or do you think maybe they started to affect him because?
I do think that they probably had a little bit of an effect on him, softened him maybe a little, but he was a bad guy, and he had a lot of reasons for that. But the family was trying to encourage Corinne to be making her own choices. As I said, she was becoming this stronger person, and boy, will she need to become that much stronger than most of us by the end of Glass Hearts. but
Definitely.
but her oldest brother Galen, who is kind of like the family patriarch because their father had died, he was concerned, but the whole family, they wanted him to back off, and they didn't like him too much, but they wanted her to come to her own conclusion about that. I mean, she was almost 20, she was like 21, almost 22 when she met him, so it was her choice. Yeah.
Right. Now, you mentioned Galen took the patriarch role once their father died. How do you think the relationship with Seth would have been different if he hadn't died? If he was still alive and was there guiding her, do you think she would have fell for Seth, or do you think she would want to save somebody still, or?
I think that I have a feeling that she might not have even been down in Manhattan at her museum internship to meet him had the father still been alive. Matthew Zabriskie, the dad, he was a really great man. And there's actually a short little story between him and young Galen as a teenager in the short stories from the first story arc, from Ren and Galen's story. But I think Matthew Zabriskie, he probably would have stepped in, but he wouldn't have stepped in overbearingly. She was his little girl. I think he would have somehow cut it off at the pass at some
I think
point.
they would have opened a gallery together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although she does have a very supportive family that helps her out too. So.
Yes. Now, in the new book, if you haven't read it yet, Vance, the hero of the book, is licensed in tantric massage.
He is, among his many talents.
How do you think Big Brother Galen feels about that?
Well, we haven't quite explored that. I know he knows because there's a conversation that goes on in Glass Hearts. There's a whole room full of them talking about the Kama Sutra, and so Vance, lets a couple of things slip. So Galen knows. He really wouldn't have had much time to talk with Vance throughout the book after Corinne and Vance, get to know each other better.
Well, but I have a feeling they'll be having a conversation at some point.
Yeah, well, there will be another book, Reflections of You, Reflections of Me, which will be a story about the beginning of their life together and some, major thing going on. But so there's plenty of time for Galen to get a little,
Okay, now Corinne you said she suffers from severe anxiety, and she's an empath as well. Now,
Yes.
What is an empath exactly, and what kind of research did you do for her anxiety issues, or what inspired you to write a character with such that struggled with anxiety so much?
Well, there's a lot of readers out there. I just see it a lot. I see a lot of readers. I see a lot of authors that talk about having anxiety. I have it to a degree. I don't mind saying it. It's it can hold you back sometimes, and it's different for everybody. It manifests in very different ways. But Corinne's family, some of the people in her family are empaths. Now, if you look up empath on Amazon, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of paranormal books. This is not meant to be paranormal. Being an empath actually has some form of scientific basis to it. The 100% answer about it isn't quite there yet, but in our heads, we have these mirror neurons, and some people are those that really don't have active mirror neurons or practically no activity of them, those are your psychopaths. They don't feel emotion, they don't feel other people's emotion, no sympathy, no nothing.
Those are usually the bad guys in my book.
Right, exactly. Yep. For Corinne, and her mom has it, she's got hyperactive mirror neurons. That's what happened. And it enables her to feel more of what somebody's feeling. Like if you're sad, Shay, she would feel a lot of that. She might even just, start to feel kind of depressed.
Absorbs it.
Yeah, she can absorb moods and stuff like that. And that doesn't help her anxiety, because, if you're around somebody that's upset or angry, or, just has a bad feeling around them, you don't, it's not going to make you feel too good. It might make you more anxious. But if you've never looked up what empaths are, I mean, sometimes, you hear things that you're like, all right, I don't know if I go believe that. But my empaths in this book are very normal people. They're not, they're not doing magical kinds of things. They are, I believe that.
They're more sensitive to others, I think.
Yes, far more sensitive to others. I mean, I have it sometimes. I mean, I can tell, I'll be in a room and I'll be hearing somebody talk, and I might have walked into that room in this great mood, and suddenly I'm feeling low, and I'm like, what is going on? And it's like, oh, I'm feeding off of, this one over here who's, going on and on and on about somebody, and in a nasty way, and then I feel it. I think all of us do, to a certain extent. So, I mean, empathy, everybody should have empathy, right?
Right.
But sometimes some people have it even worse. Somebody breaks a leg, and some people will feel it. They'll feel the pain of the broken leg. I don't have that, but
like sympathy pregnancy pains. They say men have sympathy pregnancy pains. So.
Yeah. So there's a biological reason for why some people have this gift or curse, however you look at it. Corinne sees it as a curse a lot. It's not a paranormal thing in my books anyway.
Okay. And Corinne, I think it's great the way that you see Corinne fall apart and pick herself back up continuously, and how she struggles with it and works hard to overcome it. And she, she tries to practice techniques to deal with it too. And it's nice to have a character that's realistic like that, and isn't perfect, doesn't have, I mean, not every heroine has it all together, but Corinne is struggling, and she knows it, and her family knows it. And in some sense, I think, especially Galen, tended to baby her a little bit, and that may have thwarted her becoming stronger.
Yeah,
because
she has grown a lot already as we meet her in the first books, where you're just seeing her in this stage, but she's a side character, so we're not really dealing with her much in the first story arc. But in this one, this is all her. This is her story, and she's already learned a lot. And she's she keeps struggling, but real people, they take a step forward, they take a couple of steps back, and that's what I wanted to to portray.
Okay, Vanessa Z. Glass, how did you come up with the name?
Vanessa Z. Glass, that is her glass gallery. Corinne's middle name is Vanessa, and so many people, she's had trouble with people saying Zabriskie or remembering Zabriskie, so she uses Z, Vanessa Z. Glass. She's a glass artist and has this gallery. And it's funny because at one point, Vance says, he's like, I may have to call you Vanessa, because, there was a little girl named Corinne broke my heart, and back in my school days, on the playground, but so anyway, he doesn't call her Vanessa, though. He has other
No, he doesn't. He's got a nice little nickname for her. And it's a clean nickname. It's not a dirty nickname.
It is a clean
at least not that we know of. We're not privy to that part, so. Right.
We'll leave that other stuff to the, the more tantric elements of the book. So yes, it is a graphic book in in, some spots. So, it's 18 plus. But yeah, and that's Glass Hearts.
Now, after you're finished with Glass Hearts, is there going to be more? You said that there's going to be story arcs and more Zabrazi.
Yes.
Is there going to be more books, more people? Who can we look forward to after Corinne?
Well, the next part of Corinne's story, again, this is not a cliffhanger. It's a full story, but I'm giving her and Vance another run for their money in Reflections of You, Reflections of Me, which is in progress. And then they are going to also, there's going to be a book of short stories that are fly on the wall kind of stories like I did for Ren and Galen. So you'll see things happening that, may have happened on the sidelines in this book or between the two books, just fun little stories. And then after that, I'm taking younger brother Dax, who's been a bit of a pill through these both story arcs. And we're gonna kind of find out why. He's got a story behind him, which has already been developing on the sidelines, but readers don't hear about that. They will in Dax's book, which is not, I haven't settled on the title yet. So
Okay.
Dax's story will be.
Good, so lots to look forward to.
Yes, definitely.
And when is Glass Hearts out?
Glass Hearts is in, the release date for the ebook is Thursday, April 16th. The print is already out. And if you're seeing this before the 16th, the ebook is on pre-order. So on Amazon.
Everybody running by it. It's a great book. You're going to absolutely love it. It's fun. It's sexy. It's steamy. And
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Yeah, it's suspenseful. It will keep you,
yes.
It'll keep you turning the page. So go on and pick it up, and everybody go buy Glass Hearts.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.